Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we're going to be looking at the subreddit r/choosingbeggars, where people get way too picky when it comes to asking for free stuff. Roommate hasn't paid rent in 4 months, complains the house is not clean enough and the food we provide is cheap. My husband and I own a 3-bedroomed house. We don't need all the space, so we rent out one of the rooms in our home. We charge a base fee for rent and then split utilities and food 3 ways. We buy all the groceries and it gets tacked on to rent each month. This was easier for all parties as we would generally cook meals together and didn't want to worry about who bought what. It worked for us for 5 years with no issues with 2 different renters. Current roommate has lived with us for 2.5 years. He's my husband's best friend and has known him for 10 years. He was even the best man at our wedding last year. All around, he's a stand-up guy. Or so we thought. Lately, we have lost a lot of respect for him, and unfortunately, might be ending our relationship. He lost his job in December. He works in the trades and the project he was on wrapped up. Nothing unexpected. When the project was close to be done, he should have been preparing for the layoff, but didn't. He told us not to worry. He was going to take December off and start looking for a new position in January. Said that not a lot of places hire right before the holiday. He also made sure to mention that rent wouldn't be an issue, as he had enough to cover up to the end of January. We always charged him rent at the end of the month because when he moved in, he had some debt to pay off and it helped him by delaying the rent 30 days. And really, it didn't make much of a difference to us. Well, end of December comes around and he doesn't have the money. My husband and I discuss it and decide we'll float him a month or 2 until he gets back on his feet. He's a good friend of ours and everyone can use a little help when they fall on hard times. Although, I was a little annoyed that he said he had the money for rent saved and then didn't. End of January comes around and he still has no job and no rent. Because we split the cost of groceries, we are effectively paying for him to live with us for free and providing free meals. I'm getting more frustrated as each day goes by and he doesn't have a job. But I also understand that it can be hard if you are applying and not getting a call back. I discuss with my husband and he says we should give him more time. Now, to add to all of this, I am currently 34 weeks pregnant. We didn't need a renter to pay our bills, but we thought it would help us if we could collect rent from someone and aggressively pay down our debt to pay for our wedding last year and anything remaining before the baby comes. However, my pregnancy has been a terrible one and I have been off work intermittently for the last 8 months due to mobility and pain issues. As a result, my pay has been sporadic and much lower than what I normally collect, which would have been fine because our renter gives us the breathing room we needed in the event something happened. Except, we're not getting rent. In January, I was put on 3 weeks bed rest, meaning 3 weeks of reduced pay which I wouldn't receive for over a month as I had to wait for the short-term disability to be approved. So we are just living off my husband's paycheck, and he is supporting me and choosing beggar, since he is not contributing to the bills. I ended up going back to work in February, but then had to take another 5 days off due to medical issues. This was all unpaid as I had no sick days left and it was too short a time frame to get disability. My doctor has now put me on early maternity leave, even though I am not due for another 6 weeks. I'm feeling better now that I have the time to take care of myself and my baby, but I've been told it can take 6 to 8 weeks before I start receiving maternity pay. So again, we are surviving off just my husband's pay, which we can live off by the way. It just means we have to be very tight with what we spend our money on. As a result, we have to cut our grocery bill from $800 a month to $250 a month, with the intention of eating a lot of rice, beans, potatoes, etc. And we get some meat from my uncle's farm for free whenever he's in town. Back to choosing beggar. In February, I started calling around to family to see if they knew of anyone hiring. My aunt actually knew of 2 positions open that choosing beggar could apply for. One with her company, which she said was guaranteed hire as long as he mentioned her name, and one with my cousin's employer, who would guarantee an interview since it was a referral. I gave both to choosing beggar with hopes he would start working. He didn't end up applying to either of them. We had a few friends over at the beginning of March, and choosing beggar was talking to them and they were discussing his unemployment. He mentioned that it was hard on him because he had applied at 20 places and only got 2 calls back. I hear this and all I can think of is, you've only applied to 20 places and you've been out of work since December? Last week was the last straw for me. On Tuesday, he asked me what we wanted to have for dinner. I said I would like fried rice. It's cheap, quick, and easy to make. He then starts making comments about how he is tired of eating rice. I offer potatoes and frozen vegetables. He said it was too bland. This went on for a few minutes, until I end the conversation saying we cannot afford anything better, so he can pick one of my suggestions or get his own food. My mobility issues from my pregnancy are so bad I can't clean our house. I can't even get dressed in the morning without my husband's help, because I can't bend over and I also can't lift my legs. I also have developed severe carpal tunnel in both my hands, so I have trouble gripping things. Pregnancy is so great, guys. So my husband has been doing his best to keep the house clean, most notably the kitchen. Since Choosing Beggar is home all day, he makes a fair amount of dishes that get left around. Originally, we had the arrangement that he would cook dinner and we would clean the kitchen. But now that he's not working, it piles up a lot faster than my husband can keep up with. So there are days where we have no clean dishes or there is no counter space to cook on. Last week, Choosing Beggar made a comment to me while I was in the kitchen that he was annoyed we never had clean dishes anymore, but he didn't make any offer to clean the dishes. Instead, he pulled out a paper plate that we use for barbecues and used that instead. Later that day, when he went to cook something for dinner, he made a comment that there was no room to cook, since the kitchen was such a mess. Again, instead of cleaning it, he moved the dirty dishes off the stove and onto the table, and then proceeded to cook. He had a job interview last week. I asked him how it went after he got home, and he said, "It went well. I liked the place enough that I might even take the job if they offered me minimum wage." And the first thought through my mind was, have you been turning down jobs that are only offering minimum wage? Our minimum wage is $15 an hour. All throughout this, my husband and I have offered to pay his phone bill. He can't get an interview without a phone. We have had to buy a battery for his truck when his died so he could go to an interview. And we've lent him our car for interviews when he ran out of gas in his vehicle. I am livid at how this turned out. We thought we were being good people by helping out a friend who was down on his luck, and all he does is sit at home all day and make comments about how we are not providing enough. My husband and I are going to be serving him with an official eviction notice at the end of the month. We didn't want to because we know he has nowhere to go, no family to move in with, no money to go anywhere else. It just sucks because he was a good friend for a long time, and I don't think the friendship can recover from this. I was just wondering how he only managed to apply to 20 jobs in like 3 months. Like, that's insane. I'm sure you could apply to more than 20 in that time. My quote-unquote friend's policy is that he doesn't tip. To preface, this is a close college friend I've known for years. He hasn't shown this type of behaviour before, but we also haven't had a lot of real-life type situations outside of college. Last week, he asked to borrow my antique cymbal, $300 to $400, cymbal bag, $40, and stand, $70, for a gig. I agree, as I trust this friend. He says he's interested in buying. The cymbal, among others, were for sale. We both have percussion degrees. I make it very clear, my cymbals are for a drum set, not a concert. He insists on buying one, for a concert, because he has $300 to his name and it's convenient. I disagree with this, and ultimately refuse to sell it to him. He can get something better for concert online, and for cheaper. Trying to help him. He then asks to buy the stand and bag. I tell him I can't sell the stand without the cymbal, because that doesn't make sense. The bag isn't for sale. Can't you just sell it to me for what you paid? You can just order another one. But then I'd have to pay shipping and wait another week for something I already own. He then makes an offhand remark along the lines of it being convenient for him, and that it's okay if I had to wait. He gets very dicey about how and when to pick it up. Sundays I don't work, so I suggested Sunday, but he said that he'd have less than a day home with his family. He got off for spring break Friday, and he has to be at the rehearsal on Monday. I say the next option is Monday morning before I work. He was performing in town about 40 minutes from my work, 2 hours from where he lives. He claimed that it was too early since he wouldn't be there until around 1. Why can't you give it to me at work? I'm sure you all understand that you can't just dip out of work like that. I finally relent and leave him my car keys while I'm working. I'm uncomfortable, but this is fine. This was a week ago. We agreed he would visit me Sunday to return the equipment and take a later train. I was on edge to begin with because I didn't want this to be an all-day event. My parents are out of town and I'm responsible for the house and my brother. I have things I need to do and I'm tired. I suggest we get lunch when he comes, maybe hang for an hour or so. Then he catches the next train. He agrees. He said 9 AM or 11 AM, but ended up coming at 1:30. We decided to get Japanese hibachi. This new restaurant opened by me. He agreed ahead of time, and I've been to the other location, so I already know it's good. The price is about $12 to $15 a person, and the service is excellent. We get there, and I realise it's Sunday, so dinner prices, not lunch. That's okay though. Dinner is about $20 to $30, but there's enough food for two, so we can split one. He originally wanted chicken, and I wanted steak. So I said, let's do a pick two. It comes with soup, salad, rice, vegetables, noodles, chicken, 2 shrimp, and steak. I made it very clear that he gets the chicken, I get the steak. It was $29, so $14.50 each, plus tip. We both decide to order an appetizer as well. I've never tried any here, and I'm a small person who eats frequent small meals. I said I wanted leftovers. I ordered one for $9, and he got one for $5. I did the mental math, so obviously I'd pay more. I didn't want to impose. The server comes, and my friend is confused about how ordering worked. I ordered everything for us, so he didn't have to figure it out. He kept trying to tell me that he wanted the steak well done. It was mine, and I ordered it medium rare. I didn't want to stress to the server, so I just turned to him and said, make it medium. Appetizers come. Friend asks to try mine. It's 6 pieces. He eats half and eats all his pot stickers except one that I ate. Entree comes. I take the soup. He takes the salad. The rest is just on a large plate. After the appetizer and soup, I ended up not eating a ton of the entree. Hence, leftovers. Meanwhile, my friend ate half my appetizers, all of his, salad, and more than half of the entree and was still going. Server brought me a box, and I'm literally boxing my portion of the food to keep him from eating it. He makes a comment that we ordered too much food. Food that he ate all of, and chose to order. Bill finally comes. $46, not including tip. The other location's tipping policy is 18%. I tell him $23 each. Then start figuring out the tip. I don't tip. There's a pause. Excuse me? I don't tip. That's my personal policy. I had to take a moment because I was honestly mind-boggled. Tipping isn't an option? You know servers only make $5, maybe $6 an hour, right? They need tips to offset their income. You have to tip. I don't tip. It's against my personal policy. At this point, I throw my hands up. Fine, whatever. I'll pay the tip. It's still $23. Can I give you $20 and you put the rest on your card? At this point, I'm wondering if this is real. This is actually happening. Can I give you $20 and whatever change I have? He proceeds to dig out whatever pocket change he has. I'm angry. At this point, he also makes an offhand comment how it's okay for me to pay more because I work full time. I work full time, 40 plus hours, to pay off my undergrad loans. He is working on his master's degree. He clarified that he has no debt. His undergrad is paid off mostly by his parents. He misses the point that despite how I work and our situations, I have debt. He doesn't have it, and even if I didn't, this isn't okay. He pulls out a 20 and a 10. I grabbed both and pulled over our server. $23 cash, $23 on the card, I'll do the tip separate. The server comes back and gives my friend $7 cash. I sign and leave a tip. He paid $23, I paid $32. I'm annoyed, but we leave and go to my house. I make us drinks and he asks for snacks, which I don't mind, but dude, you just ate yours and my food. He asks to game, so we chill for a bit. He does this thing where he kind of snoops around touching stuff. I didn't mind at college. I have a small room with not much stuff. This is my parents' house though. He's never done this when he's visited in the past. With them present, they're out of town currently. He offhand keeps saying cake would be good. I mentioned bundt cakes. I have a coupon making them $8. He says that's too pricey. Again, we both have always lived in the Midwest. This shouldn't be news to him. He starts asking if I have any cake mix, so we, mostly me, can make a cake right now, 30 minutes before his train. His train is around 6:30, so at 6, we go to grab ice cream. I have their rewards with my email, so I get this enormous cone for 50 cents. He refuses to do any coupons or whatever I suggest. We get there and he complains over $2. We end up missing the train because the shop is super slow, so now he's leaving at 8:30. He ends up semi-helping me with the dishes and whatever else, but now I have to feed him. I'm checking the freezer and he straight up wants to eat my frozen fish, which wasn't exactly cheap. I end up making a whole bag of ravioli and he eats half of the bag. I box up the rest for my brother's dinner and I'm just determined to get this guy on the train home. Anyway, he went home and I'm reevaluating this friendship. Hope you all had a better week. I'm shook. I haven't heard from him since he left, only a message saying he got home safely. I've talked to a mutual friend about him, but that's about it. I don't plan to even acknowledge him or anything unless I get to hear an apology first. I'll tell you right now, that doesn't sound like a friend to me. I don't know to you guys, but yeah, I would just kick him out of my life. Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you did, then please do leave a like on it as it helps out a lot. If you want to check out some of my other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist on the channel. But thank you again and I will see you tomorrow.